It's time for the Grey Areas with Jason Adams and George Ferrugia.
That kid was a human dynamo.
Are you sure you're talking about George?
George of the jungle, friend to you and me.
Yes, good afternoon. Welcome to Grey Areas on this Friday. Of course, it's an absolute ritual. Midday on a Friday, get involved and make sure you do through the chat function on any of the platforms which you may be tuning in. You'll get your comment featured here on what is a big weekend of greyhound racing. Of course, week 2 of the Australian Cup Carnival. My name is Jason Adams. As always, I'm joined by George Ferrugia. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
I'm well. And one thing I found quite interesting was that the Green Light On podcast is back up and running with James Vandermaat and Michael Ty, which we love.
Okay.
However, he did open up his show this week with something that certainly caught our eye. This is how we did it.
And hello, welcome to the number one greyhound racing podcast in Victorian greyhound racing, maybe just in Melbourne, although Grey Areas might have something to say about that.
Oh, my word, we do, Jim. My word. And I mean, this is a gentleman who we go back a few months, was opening up his podcast about taking a poo before he was ready to rock, and Michael Ty's flying business class, as I learnt during that episode. So you want to watch what he says, old Jim?
Oh, I think so. Clearly, if we look at the numbers, I think we've got them covered, don't we? But anyway, let's see how we go. Yeah, Grey Areas is still number one, but look, a big show, Chase. A lot to discuss from last week. It's been an unbelievable week in greyhound racing. We had good racing last night at Sandown as well, and I know we're going to get through it. But as always, you've always got something to show us, which is leaning towards, oh, yes, I think this is the one I wanted to see. I've been waiting for this all week.
Well,
mate,
I promised it for 2 weeks, I reckon. Now, this is the vision of Disco Dave Carlson driving on a mower down the front straight at the Meadows, where last week we're talking about things that were a bit strange on Friday the 13th. And I tell you what, this must have been 15 years ago. And he's whipping his ass home there to get this mower home. Amazing scenes. Do you remember this happening?
No, he looks like he's just about to pop into a local IGA to get some veggies. Old Dave. Oh,
Number one, Disco.
Look at him, old Disco Dave. Of course, that was on the back of our great footage. And we had some good feedback of Curtly Ambrose just driving nuts in a Nissan Patrol. I don't know if it was the SCG or the Gab, but this footage still absolutely cracks me up. I know we're showing it again and we're being a bit repetitive, but I mean, it just shows how times have changed. He's got the whole team there, and then all of a sudden he really opens it up there. The security guard nearly gets run over. So Dave Carlson and Curtly Ambrose have got a lot in common.
Yeah, we'll have to find a car for someone to drive on the infield Australian Cup night, won't we?
Yes, oh, absolutely.
Echo the behaviour of Curtly Ambrose there. It's been a big week, as you said, George, on the track, action at Sandown, action at the Meadows tomorrow night, last Saturday night. But it was also a big night for the sport on Wednesday night, where there was an event at Parliament, which has been an annual thing over the past few years. And what most people would have seen by now is the video which it was released on the night in front of a lot of Victorian MPs, which is vitally important, George, to really enforce to them what our sport means, what it's all about in a political landscape in this day and age, which is quite unpredictable.
Now, mate, I know you're a fairly modest person, and I know that genuinely because I speak to you off air a lot, but I know you had a lot to do with this, and I have to say this is bloody A+. And the response from the actual participants involved on social media tells you how much they love it. It is absolutely fantastic. All these shots that we're seeing are exactly what happens with kennels and all the handling of the greyhounds, the padding, the wagging of the tail. Those love to run. I was really, really proud. I felt connected to the sport by watching this video. So a very good congratulations to you and the GRV team for putting this together. And I think it highlighted how the racing part of it's just one side, Jace. Most of the other stuff they don't get to see. I love how we transitioned away from retirement and then seeing how greyhounds can beautifully transition onto a couch. So this was a very, very well done video. I spread it far and wide on social media. I hope a lot of people, other greyhound people do. Not even people that were in Victoria, Jace, I see shared it. All the way from New Zealand to Queensland, South Australia, WA, everyone wanted to be part of this video to show their friends and family what it's all about. So congratulations to you. Congratulations to GRV for this video. I've heard nothing but praise for it. It's fantastic. And I reckon we might show it at the end with the voiceover.
Yeah, we'll show it at the end with the audio. And
'Cause it
Damien
is-
Ratcliffe let this and did a great job of it. But it's not only just showing it in front of MPs on Wednesday night, but it's just something that can sit in the background forever. And if people stumble across it on YouTube, it's just something that represents the sport so well.
Yeah, it does. And I mean, pardon me, I just wrote that again for the moronic activists out there who say that we force these great animals to run. It's not what happens at all. They're treated very, very well. We keep injuries down to as close to a minimum as we can. And look, let's be honest, guys. Life's not rainbows and lollipops all the time. Things happen to creatures, to humans, everywhere in walks of life. We try to keep it as safe as we can, and the greyhounds love to run.
Yeah, comment from Dr. Exel there. It's a great vid, boys. We need a team to fight the lies on a constant basis.
Yeah.
Easier said than done because we all speak in our own forums, but it's certainly a step in the right direction, at least in front of the right people, which was on Wednesday night at Parliament House.
Well, this is where things like social media become so important, because I'm networking this video to 60% of Facebook friends who have no idea between a wolfhound and a greyhound. So it's important for them to hear my views. If they choose not to believe it, that's fine. But I just think it's absolutely great that we have a video like this to showcase.
Yep, very good indeed. All right, let's move on to the action at Sandown last night. It started off in really hot fashion with a greyhound by the name of Algebra, who debuted at Geelong not too long ago and quite quickly took his finest work to Sandown Park. As we see here from box 6, not easy, George, to debut in the way that he did at Geelong and then go to the city and perform with such class of which he did here.
Yeah, look, if he run a place from this position, you'd say, yeah, it's a fair effort, but he kept coming and it was a terrific win and the time was there too. Of course, this is the Bernardo Auspicious Queen litter, Jace, which also includes a greyhound called Fractions, who I see is running at Sandown in a qualifier for the launching pad. He's obviously a greyhound that's run 29 5s on 2 occasions at the Meadows. So this litter looks very, very hot for Ian Garland, and that was an impressive way to kick off the night.
And then later on in the night, we saw Hot Nanu take out what wasn't a free-for-all, but at least it was probably the strongest race of the night, and he was faultless here. And what it was a glaring drop in class, really, wasn't it? He's been competing against some very good animals, and last night he did what he should have done and did it in a very impressive way.
I'm big on whipping greyhounds that are able to do that, Jace, because I think the heat is, the pressure is less on, especially to that first marker. It also helped that he pinged the lids the way he did. His splits were unbelievable, and he ran a new PB, Jace, 29.22. He went 5:01 early, absolute star. When he gets it right, he's a fast dog. And look, he got into a price that we probably weren't too happy with, but earlier in the day, Jace, we were still shopping around the $1.80 mark. I thought that was okay value for a greyhound dropping in class the way he did.
Yeah, and then later on, we saw a greyhound by the name of
Aston Summit.
Aston Summit, who has an amazing amount of early speed.
Yeah, for Mark McClelland, who's won two in a row now at Sandown, 4.99 early, 18.69. So he's certainly got the goods for the first 2 splits. It just makes such of a difference when you're able to ping the lids like those 2 greyhounds did.
Yep. Let's move on to the Australian Cup Carnival. And of course, week 1 was last week, and we saw what was probably will be one of my favourite races of all time in the way that it was handled by the superstar in Mapunga Reward. This is the head-on vision of the Team Lee, and I just love how much of a bully he is. And bully might not be the right term, but just his tenacity, his will to win. He had a bump there with Tim Zhu. He clashes down the back straight with Sharapova Star, and as we'll see in the home straight, gets inside and takes that gap between Dashing Slay and Kenya Mayhem and just made the race his own. It was a special, special performance.
Well, I think his normal way of running, Jason, is to use a little bit of the track, but if he needs to take a run up on the fence, he does it. And look what he did there too. He got right in between them. It was just a terrific victory. I think bully's not a bad word. I think he's almost like a footballer that even if he sees a little bit of traffic in front of him, he'll dive in and get the football. I mean, he's just that kind of greyhound. It was a huge night, emotional night, I think, for Jeff Britton, who's not usually an emotional person, I don't think. But I did speak to him on the Monday and asked how much alcohol he did consume over the weekend. I think he had a good weekend, as they bloody should, because like all trainers, they work really hard. So when you get a win like that, you've got to enjoy it.
He loves a celebration, doesn't he? He loves a social drink, Jeffrey, our friend.
Yes. I haven't sort of seen him in A+ position at this stage, but it's something I want to do by the time our association ends.
Yeah, that will happen.
It will happen. It will happen, will it?
And last week, we a lot of people were putting cold water on his chances, weren't we? I mean, I was, at least from a personal point of view, just that lack of speed, that will to get to the middle part of the track. But in the end, you just class, tenacity, will to win isn't written in the form guide.
I think you said something along the lines. I'm not sure if he can do what he did the week before against lesser opposition and still run 29.70. And that's exactly what he ended up doing. But I understood where you were coming from, Jace, because it's not easy to give starts away against those type of greyhounds with, it could have been 4 or 5 bums in front of him, but he's not terrible early. He can get into at least a good enough position. This week's interesting, and I know we'll touch on it. He's off a wide draw. This is a different challenge for him now. I know people say, well, you're contradicting yourself because he likes to use a little bit of the track, but I don't mind him drawn closer to the fence because it allows him to get around that first corner, and then he can sort of branch out and move off the track if he wants to. So, yeah, the big challenge this Saturday night, obviously 1-2 going through to the Australian Cup final.
And I think important to note, as much as his natural instinct is to get to that middle part of the track, he'll still make good decisions.
Yeah.
And we've seen that time after time. If there's a pocket there to run into on the inside, and the example on Saturday night was splitting the middle between Dashing Slay and Kenya Mayhem, he will take that. So you just can't buy that stuff.
Yeah, and for those, I've had a few people ask, and I know it was discussed on SEN. I don't think we're going to see much of him. I think the phone calls are coming through big enough now for Jeff and Angela for stud that might be the way to go. And he doesn't have age on his side. He's nearly 4 because we didn't get to see him race much. So I've used him at stud already. I hope he throws that will to win, Jace, because if he does, I think he'll be a terrific stud dog. He has already served Cruising Debbie, who I think won a launching pad as well.
Did.
So if he can start to get some quality females on the ground, I mean, he's way behind Explicit. At the same stage, Explicit served so many greyhounds so far, but if you can get some nice ones on the ground, he might make it at stud.
Yep, and we gave James in the Green Light On podcast a bit of a clip at the start of the show, but I wrap to him as well for speaking to Angela Langton, who gave us the update that if Mapunga Reward was the bomb out of the semi-finals here at the Meadows tomorrow night, he would be nominated for the Rookie Rebel.
Yeah,
and he'd be a walk-up starter.
Yeah. I think it's just this carnival and then they'll reassess. I mean, they love racing, both Barry Smith and obviously the Britton family, but I think the dog would have probably done enough.
Yeah.
I'd suggest.
And he's not one that needs to ride the heights of success and then retire to start, is he? I mean, he's got a body of work that no matter how he goes out, he's going to be respected.
I think that race that really helped too, Jace, was that 29.05 at Sandown off a wide draw where I think he was against Flying Zulu and these type of greyhounds and ran them down in that quick time. I think that would have done a lot going forward. But again, big challenge this night, Saturday night, sorry. We see the iconic thing, just as we're touching on this unbelievable 3-week series. Gareth Hall apparently still filthy that Fade to Black got run down.
Still, jeez, he won't give it away. Will he?
Last week
for a dog he loves so much.
Still filthy at Fade to Black, getting run down in the Zoom top, obviously behind Magpie Hector. Thankfully, we get to see both those greyhounds again tomorrow night.
Yep. All right, let's hone into this card at the Meadows tomorrow night. Of course, heats of the Fanna Bale Stays will kick off the feature racing, and the first heat is nowhere near as strong as what the second heat is, where we've got Fade to Black at $1.65 and in all likelihood should be winning this easily.
Look, again, people look at odds on and say odds on, look on, and I get that. But if you've got another tip on the day, and I know a lot of mates, I'm sure you're the same, that get tips during the day, whether it's through the gallops or darts, or we'll talk about the lawn bowl tip you got a little bit later. But was it lawn bowls?
Yeah.
So my answer here is just throw this greyhound in a multi. I just think Fade to Black wins this race. Is that that's not a shouting it from the rooftops here. I mean, he's just racing so well at the moment. His run was really good last week, even though he got run down. He went 42.40 odd. He's just redlining at the moment. $1.60. You could excuse him for being $1.30 in this race, to be honest. So I would throw him in a multi.
Yeah.
Sure.
So Texas President probably leads. Mapunga Donna's going to be off him. Vodka and Ice is an interesting runner. She trialled around 42.55 last Saturday night. So that is competitive. But Fade to Black's way better than this lot. So we'd expect him to win that. Heat 2, this is just jam-packed of quality. Aiden's Warrior, Belair Ethel, Late Night News, Irish Millie, Mapunga Lara, Magpie Hector, and Baffett. He's the X factor of this. This is interesting to say the least.
Yeah, obviously named after Bob Baffert, the champion racehorse trainer in the United States. But yeah, I mean, the X factor here, breaking the track record at Geelong, his pedigree suggests that 700 metres is not going to be an issue. He's out of a greyhound called Super Estrella, who was, the whole dam line are just known for running 700 metres. I'm leaning towards Aiden's Warrior here. What are your thoughts? I mean, I've been a Magpie Hector fan for a long time. It's not like we're jumping off, but I just think he can set up a bit of a break here, and then where he goes from there. If he can run 42.40, 42.50, which I think he can, it's not always easy to have to navigate your way through like Magpie Hector is going to have to.
Yeah, he's in the box seat, and it's not as hard as what he faced last week. I want to see a better performance from Belair Ethel. I thought she was just, I mean, it's hard, as we know, stepping up to the class of which she did last week.
Yeah.
But after finishing down the track, just bounce back to what we know she can produce.
It is a big rising class for her. She'll get there, though. I think the talent's there, and her times have suggested on both metro tracks that she'll be racing in these type of group races for the rest of her career.
Yep, and what I love about the modern format of the Australian Cup Carnival is a Rookie Rebel Prelude, which we'll see tomorrow night, which gives greyhounds that may not have been walk-up starters into a Group 1 Rookie Rebel over 600 metres really have an audition, basically, and show us what they're made of. And this is a great field. Compton Gold's a favourite in 1. Kayla Cottrell's got a great duo heading into it with his magic in box 8, Electrify. X Factor about him, Valenzuela. We're going to see pace from Bebop Jazz and Ascend Geranium. So there's a lot of ways you can look at this race.
Yeah, there is. It's no rest for the wicked here, especially out of those boxes, Jason. I mean, there's speed with Compton Gold, Bebop Jazz, as you mentioned. Your runner, Xavier, if he finds the fence, we know what his run homes have been like. Electrify is a little bit slow early, a little bit worried about the box draw for him, which makes me lean towards his magic. For mine.
I agree.
Yeah, I thought his run at Sandown, 33.80, was it? I mean, he just blew them away. Was very, very good. I think he'll get the clearest of running from out there, and then he'll be hard to run down. He naturally is a pretty hard dog to run down. I don't think Valenzuela is capable of running his magic down if he's able to lob into a nice enough position, and then he has to deal with Compton Gold and Bebop Jazz. So it's a tough little race.
You've had a bad week in taking on your own dogs.
Well,
Charlestown.
Does the week start on Saturday? Because we tipped him on Saturday.
True.
Yeah.
Last night.
Oh, don't get me started. Phone blew up. People actually think that you're taking the piss here. Like, as in, I actually thought Angelki Road would win that race. But
yeah,
look, I'm not complaining.
I don't get a lot of comments in response to this show, but anytime you tip one and one of your own dogs rolls it, a couple of messages come through. Semi-final 1 of the Australian Cup. It's race 7 tomorrow night at the Meadows. And look, Kenya Mayhem will jump the favourite here. And despite him being beaten last week, I don't think there's nothing you can really be critical of. I mean, he was slower to begin than what he has been at his best, which was probably the separation between him winning and losing. But
would he go 5.11? He went 5.11.
Yeah, you want him to go 5.05, and if he did, he wins the race. So
which is
you can't look at him. You can't take nothing away from him when you assess what he might do tomorrow night.
Absolutely not. He's just racing in rarefied air at the moment. In saying that, I'm not going to take the $2.15 if you're a punter. Like, I'm not saying he can't win. Clearly he can. It's a good little race, though, with Consigliere, who was very good last week, running 29.63. And I know Poor Oswald's run was a little blah for him, wasn't it, last week? It was a little bit muddling.
Is it a Meadows thing?
He's got a pretty good PB here, but he probably does go a little bit better at Sandown, doesn't he? So that early speed battle between here, Kenya Mayhem and Poor Oswald will be interesting. But apart from that, it looks like it's between those three. Consigliere is a pretty special greyhound. I mean, that was a very good run home last week. So again, I don't think Jess would want him sort of sitting right on your hammer. That would be my only concern. But again, it'd probably lead a win. We really want to see him in the Australian Cup. I think he just
Kenya Mayhem? Yeah, he deserves to after what's been a huge couple of months. All right, semi-final number 2, and this one is, oh, Jesus. We spoke about the second heat of the Fanta Bale, which is just a chock-a-block of quality. This is so similar. So we've seen the scratching of Deadly Avenger. We had a comment come in as well. Hey, lads, any word on how bad the Deadly Avenger injury is? I haven't spoken to Joe Borg, but I'd say the plan would now be go to Perth.
Yeah.
And given the wide draw in such a good field,
Yeah.
possibly they thought, all right, let's get that preparation underway early. That's unconfirmed. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, and I would be thinking that, like Mapunga Reward, they would be thinking a stud career would be soon beckoning. I'll tell you what I did, Jason, before you go through your tips here. I got home. Nate wanted to watch the T20
When was
cricket
this?
last night, and there was Italy versus the West Indies. So I took a bet, Italy to win the toss, West Indies to win the game. And that's exactly what happened. And whatever I had as winnings, chips in, dashing sleigh.
Chips
for
in,
me.
dashing sleigh.
Chips in.
Why do you
dashing
take
sleigh.
these toss bets? You did it for the Super Bowl as
I
well.
was going to say tosser. I just for a little bit of fun. I just having a little bit of fun, and so it was just a $50 bet. It ended up winning $100, and so my point is, all that 100 has gone on to dashing sleigh at $4.60 for me. I know she's drawn terribly here. Well, she's used
Is
to
it
this
terrible
type.
though?
Well, only
She
because
doesn't mind being there.
there's speed everywhere. Giacomo is running from the 8 at this stage. The ground in 4, eventuate in 6 has got speed. She should beat Zelda Cavilla out. Cleo Star's okay. She's used to it. I just loved her run last week, Jason, and she went good early. I don't know how she's not favoured in this race. That's just my personal opinion. I know Tim Zoo's an absolute gun. Sorry, Tim from Kilsyth, if you're watching. You knew I was a fan for him for a long time, and I haven't dropped off. I just think Dashing Sleigh is in a position to win this race. I really do. I just feel like she's going to make the Australian Cup. Now, whether win, lose, or draw, between her and Mapunga Reward at around the $4.40 mark, I mean, who are you backing?
Anyone who's had comment on this field this week has barely mentioned Mapunga Reward. And there are people out there thinking, shit, he was so good last week.
Yeah.
Why are you not considering him such a strong chance in this race? He's drawn into part of the track where he wants to be, but I think the hairy part is, as you said, if Giacomo goes in the box 8, I don't think that's a good thing for Reward.
No, it probably isn't, and I think he's going to find himself, because he doesn't have box 2 a little bit further back on that first corner. And then if Dashing Sleigh is off and gone, she could run 29.65 this week. So again, she's be one of my best bets of the night, Dashing Sleigh. I'm really, really bullish about her chances.
But again, with Mapunga Reward, we have the same conversation every week, don't we? So
nothing would
we
please
stand
me
to be
more.
embarrassed by him yet again.
I hope he makes it.
Yeah,
I really do.
It'd be for the illustration and narrative of the race. It'd be awesome for him to win it, because if he did, it'd be a big performance. That one, I'm tipping Cleo Star, and now I'm flat with the price she's come up at.
Yeah,
I had to come up with tips before that we had markets for this, but she's got a big opportunity. And speaking to Brendan Purcell on TV last week before the race, I mean, he was pretty confident she's at her best. So although she didn't fire to her peak last week, I think she gets a big chance to do it in that race. All right, semi-final number 3, and this is another one where you can look at the race from all angles. You can look at Avengement from box 1, who was good last week. Dear Carla Lou had the best 20, 50 metres of the whole program. Slick Splits in 4, Dramatical 5, Sharapova Star, Intrepidus, pace out wide. What's your assessment of this one?
Well, again, I just think that, and I've not knocked this dog. I've tipped against this dog, and he has put egg on my face, and that's Dramatical. I think it's a problematic box draw here, Jace. I just don't know where he sits in this race. Slick Splits couldn't be as bad as he has in the last 2, out of the boxes especially. The 2's got speed, the 7's got speed, the 8's got speed. And we're talking real speed here. I mean, so I don't know where Dramatical fits in all this. Avengement's hope is he's drawn the best here. And I know I was listening to Craig, the handler, when you interviewed him, and he said probably not an ideal box draw. I disagree with Avengement. I know he likes to use a bit of the track, but a little bit like Mapunga Reward, I'd rather them in 1 get around that first corner, and then they can sort of open up if they get the gap. Now, he has run 5:08, 29.78 here, Avengement. He's going to have to do that to qualify, Jace. There's no way around it, because there is speed and quality everywhere in this heat. And we haven't mentioned Western Sydney.
I was going to say, there's some decent judges who are in his camp for this one.
Well, his run last week was outstanding. So I'm just saying, for me, the favourite is a bit of a false favourite in this race, because it's such a hard box draw. I've always been a Slick Splits fan. Sharapova Star and Intrepidus from the wide draw. Wow, this could go anywhere. So I just keep coming back to Avengement to at least qualify because of the box draw. You?
Slick Splits.
Yeah.
I think he got crunched last week. He got cut in half by Off the Chart in the Warragul Cup.
Yeah.
He wants to be in box 4. West on Sydney's got no pace. Dramatical's not going to begin well. So it's a big chance for him to bounce back, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The last of the semi-finals to see Irish Bill as the favourite at $3. Maverico, who was the fastest heat winner, will jump from box 5. It's not as deep as the past couple of semis of which we've spoken about, but for Irish Bill, he's absolutely flying at the moment. Best run home last Saturday night, the best last 100 metres.
And forget the first split, Jace. I know you're going to mention he's a bit slow away, which I totally agree with you at, but he's not a 5.32 dog. He's probably a 5.15, 5.13 dog. Is that going to be enough to lead? Maybe not, but I reckon off box 1, Jace, pardon me, gets himself into a nice enough position, then he can utilise that run home time that you're talking about. Yep. What's your tip?
Well, he's been fortunate to get through. I think with the with Robinson coming out of the series, he's been the one to go into it. So, look, I've been against him in recent weeks, and those reasons being, I think a lot of the positive opinion about him lately has been based off those match racing series in Brisbane, where fast dogs are going to do those sort of things.
Yep.
I know he's been big at Sale. He was well back in the field. So just given he's likely to get back in the field, we haven't seen him from him yet in a full field against good opposition. So given I've had that stance over the past few weeks, so I can't really go away from that. Who I tip elsewhere, I'm not too sure. I probably will end up tipping him, but it comes with some hesitation.
Well, I picked the great man up, Tom Savalas, from the airport yesterday as part of my new transport.
What was your company name?
He
one
calls
man,
it the
one
dog, one boat.
That's it.
One dog, one. So Tom's just lending my car for the weekend, so that's luck there for Dacey's Rory in box 3. Hopefully he goes a little bit better. I've got to have a play on Vista Weird at $8. You can't jump off now. Like, I know he had box 1 last week. He was defeated, Maverico.
This draw's better, don't you think?
Yeah, and the price is good too. And, I know there's speed drawn out wide. Aston Rayner he's just going to begin better than him. And, so, yeah, I've got to have something on Vista Weird, because if he gets around that first corner, it could be one of those races where it's game on for a few of these. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so there's a look at each of the semi-finals of the Australian Cup. Now, I wanted to mention something else to you, George. Now, we've often on this show over the past, what's it been, almost 2 years, been critical of the way that our grading system can sort of restrict certain greyhounds at certain times, but I think there was a masterstroke made during the week, and the race I speak of is race 3 on tomorrow night's card, where it's a restricted win race 5+. And it might seem weird and probably never been done before, but the reason of it being done was to actually put the race on. If you don't get creative like that, these dogs are staying at home, and they may have had intentions to have an audition for a rookie rebel next week. So I think to get creative, bend the rules in what can sometimes be a restrictive grading setup, was a great thing.
As long as the transparency is there for trainers, I don't think it's a problem. And we've come up with a pretty competitive race. I think it's a pretty good race. So, no, I agree. Absolutely. Greyhound from South Australia, Echoes of Dad, WA bred, but been racing in South Australia. Echoes of Dad comes with very good form. 30 and 12 at Angle Park last start is about as quick as they go. So, that's a good little race.
All right. Have you got some bests for us tomorrow night outside of the ones we've gone through?
Absolutely chips in Dashing Sleigh for sure. That is my best. I didn't mind He's Magic as well. So race 6, number 8, but definitely Dashing Sleigh. If you can get anything around the 480 mark, I'd be jumping on board.
All right, so there's a look at tomorrow night at the Meadows, and if you can come along, it's a kids' night, so there'll be plenty happening for the young ones driving in today. There's jumping castles, and it's all been set up. Did you have a crack? Did you? How'd you go?
Yeah, they needed sort of just a tester. It was good. Yeah,
you would have been small enough to pass the
well, that's why they picked me, mate.
Yeah?
You know that,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
It's always a short joke, isn't there?
Let's move on to one of the more popular segments of the show, particularly after Charlestown got up last night and George was on radio tipping against him with Angelki Road. But don't we love it when that happens in the Ferrugia Files? What have you got for us over the next few days?
He went good, Charlestown, by the way.
It was fantastic.
Yeah, he's getting a little bit stronger, the big galoot. What do we call him?
It's the confidence is the issue with him, isn't it? Isn't it been his consistency?
He's always been a good chaser. I think he's just dopey and too bit long-legged. Yeah. Idiot dog. Anyway, sorry, I got Summer Quinn tonight in the heat of the Richmond Oaks, but it's a really good series. In fact, how you talk about sometimes the derbies are better than the Oaks. The Oaks have got Sooty Keeping and Tara Minor, all the top bitches, a rise of sparkles there. So
Yeah.
really good series. Tempting Dash having her first 550 tomorrow at Q1. Hopefully she leads all the way. Valenzuela tomorrow, tough race. Cause Celebra is probably my best chance. Sunday, Cause Celebra. Race 2, number 1 on Sunday at Q2 with the great
Is this a new dog?
Tommy Two Fingers. No, she's
Why
one
is he
of
called
maiden.
Tommy Two Fingers? Is that a story for...
No, I just call him that because I watch a lot of mafia shows. Yeah, I think she's the best chance of my lot. Race 3, number 1 at Q2.
Okay.
Whew, we got through that.
All right. Unreal. There's the Ferrugia files. Is there anything else we need to touch on
Yeah,
today?
I've got a
Obscure outlay. Give it to us.
T20. I'm in form, guys. I backed Sri Lanka to score
what happened to
over
that multi
1-0.
last week with the Netherlands? No good.
I don't want to talk about anyone
Okay.
that's Dutch. Okay. Pakistan to beat New Zealand, into Sri Lanka to beat England, and we're shopping, guys, at about $5.16. Pakistan and Sri Lanka to win tomorrow in their qualifiers for the T20 World Cup.
Unreal. During the week, I was on Sky. Tuesday morning just
I like this
gone.
story.
And Brendan Craneborg, who's an absolute marvel when it comes to harness racing, he was on before me in the segment. And it's been a couple of times recently where Lewis Willoughby's thrown something curvy at him towards the end of the segment. And he goes, I've got a moral. It was Tweed heads in the Premier League of lawn bowls.
Oh, what, can we bet on that?
Anyway, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Anyway, it didn't go to plan, but it was fascinating to say the least. And I got on air yesterday. Actually,
Yeah.
no, sorry, I was on after him and I said, given BK's interest in the lawn bowls, wait till Thursday morning. I'll have a darts multi for you. Gave one. It was a double. Saluted this morning. So
Well
we're off to a
done.
good start. It might turn into a darts segment as opposed to greyhound racing.
Well, better
given
than
the
lawn
way
bowls.
given the way the dog multi's going at the moment.
And didn't this guy also give a bad Google review to a restaurant? I like
Yeah,
hearing
that's
that.
another thing the week before.
We
They
might
got
need to
into
show
him.
that. Yeah, we might need to show that.
I don't know if
They
we
didn't
can.
chill his beer
That
glass.
might be confidential. But anyway.
Okay.
All right, that's a wrap for Grey
Oops.
Areas on this Friday afternoon. Of course, big action tomorrow night at the Meadows, week 2 of the Australian Cup Carnival. Full coverage on the Watchdog app, and as well as Sky Racing Active, we'll have Michael Ty, Nathan Rooney, and Jess Hopkins at the desk throughout the whole night. So making her debut as a panel member.
And you roving?
Yes, I'll be out
that's
and
what's
about. So hopefully that gives me a bit of time to pluck out some interesting characters.
How do
in
you
the
prepare
crowd.
for a day like that? What's on for the afternoon?
Well, I've still got to
tomorrow?
set up everything. I'll still be cutting replays for them to roll
tomorrow.
out.
So just
Um,
no, yeah, okay. I thought you were going to a get together.
Oh, I am.
I hear stories.
I am.
That's all right. Just
I am.
I hear rumors are no good to follow. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about it or not?
No. Let's avoid it. We'll talk
All
about
right.
it next week.
All right, let's get on with that. That's a wrap for Grey Areas. We'll see you next Friday. Enjoy tomorrow night. In the meantime, let's bow out with that video of which we highlighted earlier in the show, this time with a bit of audio. Enjoy your weekend.
Life begins in quiet paddocks, where tails wag in the first light of dawn. Soft ears, curious eyes, a playful dash across the grass. They run for the joy of it. They run because it's what they were born to do. Here, greyhounds are family, passed down through generations, cared for with patience and love. Early mornings, endless chores, bottomless cups of tea. Life's rhythm is in the brush of fur, the pat on the neck, the promise of care. Some find their stride on the track, their legs becoming poetry and motion. From Warrnambool to Sale, Shepparton to Healesville, greyhound racing is woven into the fabric of Victoria. Through dawns and dusks, they chase a dream, not just for themselves, but for the hands that guide them. Every greyhound is seen, heard, checked. Expert hands tend their health. Care runs deeper than the track. In every test, every visit, every watchful glance. Integrity isn't just a word here. It's a promise lived every day. Beyond the track, race clubs open their gates to neighbours, charities, and causes that matter. From the Children's Hospital to community days, this sport gives back as much as it gathers. It's laughter, togetherness, the reason people return again and again. And on the brightest nights, the elite take flight. Crowds gather, but the greyhound runs for the same reason it always has: pure joy. Young folks, families, regulars, drawn together by the energy, the spectacle, and the shared love of the breed. When the racing ends, the journey doesn't. Greyhounds discover new homes, new names, new couches to claim as their own. They trade the thunder of the track for the comfort of family, and they are loved all over again. From their first dash across the paddock to their last stretch across the living room floor, greyhounds are companions, athletes, family, and every step of the way they are cared for. This is Victorian greyhound racing. A life in motion, a life well lived.